The cafe buzzed with life as Anna stirred her coffee absent-mindedly. The warm aroma of roasted beans filled the air, but she barely noticed. Her mind was consumed by the strange occurrences of the past few weeks. Letters she didn't recognize arriving in her mailbox, her bank account balance fluctuating without explanation, and, most disturbingly, a credit card statement showing purchases she had never made. She glanced at her phone, scrolling through her banking app for the third time that morning, hoping to make sense of it all. $5,000 at a luxury boutique. $2,000 at an electronics store? I didn't buy any of this, she whispered, her voice tinged with both disbelief and panic. Anna had always been cautious, priding herself on keeping her finances in order. The thought of someone else meddling with her life sent chills down her spine. Yet, no matter how many times she contacted the bank or combed through her transactions, the answer remained elusive. Maybe it's just a mistake, her best friend, Chloe, had said over the phone a week ago. Chloe's words had seemed reassuring then, but now, Anna wasn't so sure. As Anna sat there, sipping her now-cold coffee, she decided it was time to take action. She logged into her online accounts one by one, changing passwords and checking for unauthorized access. Then, as if on instinct, she decided to search her name online. Her heart stopped when the results loaded. There it was, a LinkedIn profile under her name but with a photo she didn't recognize. The job title read, Executive Consultant, a position Anna had never held. She clicked the profile, her hands trembling. The details were eerily accurate, her birthday, her education, even her hobbies. But something was off. The person in the photo was clearly not her. Who was this imposter? And how had they gathered so much information about her? Anna spent hours piecing things together, trying to make sense of the digital puzzle. She printed out the fake profile, highlighting the discrepancies in red. By the time she was done, her desk was littered with papers and notes, the beginnings of a trail that could lead her to the truth. Later that evening, Anna called Chloe again. "Chloe, I think someone's stolen my identity," she said, her voice quivering. "They've made fake profiles, used my credit cards. I don't know what to do." "Calm down," Chloe replied, her tone unusually sharp. "You're probably overthinking it. Just let it go. These things sort themselves out." Anna frowned. Chloe was usually the first to offer help, but tonight she seemed distant, almost defensive. "Are you okay?" Anna asked. "Of course I am," Chloe snapped. "Listen, I have to go. Just don't stress too much about it." As the call ended, Anna felt a knot of unease tighten in her chest. Something wasn't right. Chloe's reaction wasn't what she had expected, and it only added to her growing suspicion. The next day, Anna decided to confront the situation head-on. She contacted a private investigator, laying out everything she had discovered so far. The investigator, a sharp-eyed woman named Valerie, assured her they would get to the bottom of it. Over the following days, Valerie uncovered a shocking revelation. Whoever had stolen Anna's identity was someone who knew her well, someone with access to her personal information and intimate details about her life. The more Anna learned, the more the pieces began to fall into place. And with every revelation, a dark, nagging thought grew stronger in her mind. Could it be Chloe? Anna dismissed the thought at first, unwilling to believe her closest friend could betray her in such a way. But as the evidence mounted, she couldn't ignore it. Chloe had been acting strangely for weeks, brushing off Anna's concerns and offering little support. One night, Anna sat in her apartment, staring at the photos and documents Valerie had collected. A receipt for a luxury handbag purchased under Anna's name, but shipped to an address she didn't recognize. A surveillance photo of a woman swiping Anna's credit card at a high-end store. Anna's breath caught in her throat as she recognized the figure in the photo. It was Chloe. Anna couldn't believe what she was seeing. Her hands trembled as she clutched the surveillance photo. Chloe, the person she had trusted most in the world, was the one using her name, her money, and her identity. Memories of their years of friendship flashed through Anna's mind. Sleepovers in high school, college graduation, late-night talks about their dreams. None of it made sense. Her chest tightened as questions swirled in her mind. Why would Chloe do this? Was it out of desperation? Jealousy? Or had their entire friendship been a lie? Anna spent the night tossing and turning, replaying every interaction she'd had with Chloe over the past few months. The little signs she had ignored, Chloe's evasive answers, her sudden new wardrobe, her reluctance to hang out. It all pointed to one thing. Chloe had been living a double life, using Anna's identity to fund it. By morning, Anna's sadness had turned into resolve. She couldn't let Chloe get away with this. Her life, her reputation, and her finances were all on the line. With Valerie's help, Anna mapped out a plan to confront her former best friend and reclaim her identity. First, Anna needed concrete proof. Valerie suggested digging deeper into Chloe's activities to gather undeniable evidence. Using the address linked to the fraudulent purchases, Valerie tracked down a luxury apartment Chloe had rented in Anna's name. It was a lavish penthouse in the heart of the city, far beyond Chloe's means. Anna stared in disbelief as Valerie showed her photos of the apartment's interior. Designer furniture, expensive artwork, and closets filled with luxury clothing. "This is all mine," Anna whispered. "She's using my money to live like this?" Valerie nodded grimly. "It's worse than that. If she's taken out loans or credit cards in your name, she could be ruining your credit. You'll need to act fast to minimize the damage." Determined to confront Chloe, Anna decided to visit the penthouse. But she wouldn't go alone. Valerie accompanied her, ready to document everything and provide backup if things got heated. When Anna arrived at the penthouse, her heart pounded in her chest. She rang the doorbell, unsure of what to expect. Moments later, the door swung open, and there stood Chloe, dressed in designer clothes and holding a glass of champagne. For a split second, Chloe froze, her face pale with shock. But she quickly recovered, flashing a nervous smile. "Anna, what are you doing here?" Anna stepped inside without waiting for an invitation. Her eyes darted around the opulent apartment, taking in the evidence of Chloe's betrayal. "I could ask you the same thing," Anna said coldly. "How long were you planning to keep this up, Chloe? Stealing my identity, my money, my life?" Chloe's smile faltered, and she set down her glass. "Anna, it's not what it looks like. I can explain." "Explain," Anna interrupted, her voice rising. "You used my credit cards, my name, my reputation to live like this. How could you do this to me? We've been friends for years." Chloe's expression hardened. "You don't understand, Anna. I didn't have a choice. I needed the money. My business was failing and I was drowning in debt. You've always had everything: stability, success, a perfect life. I just needed a little help." "A little help?" Anna repeated, her voice shaking with anger. "You call stealing thousands of dollars and ruining my credit a little help? You could have come to me, Chloe. I would have helped you if you were struggling. But instead, you lied to me. You betrayed me." Chloe looked away, her guilt evident. "I didn't think you'd understand," she muttered. "You've always been so perfect. I thought you wouldn't miss it." Anna felt tears sting her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. "You didn't think I'd miss it? Chloe, this isn't just about the money. You've turned my life upside down. Do you have any idea what it's like to feel like you're losing control of everything?" For a moment, silence filled the room. Chloe looked at Anna, her guilt giving way to desperation. "Please, Anna, don't report me. I'll fix it. I'll pay you back, I promise. Just don't ruin my life." Anna stared at her former best friend, torn between anger and heartbreak. Part of her wanted to forgive Chloe, to believe that she could change. But another part of her knew that forgiveness wouldn't undo the damage Chloe had caused. "I trusted you," Anna said quietly, "but you've left me no choice. I have to report this. You need to take responsibility for what you've done." Chloe's face crumpled as she realized Anna wasn't backing down. "Please, Anna." But Anna didn't stay to hear her pleas. She turned and walked out of the penthouse, her heart heavy but her resolve unshaken. The confrontation was just the beginning. Anna filed a police report and worked with Valerie to provide all the evidence they had gathered. It was a long and grueling process, but Anna knew it was the only way to take back control of her life. As the weeks went by, Chloe's actions came to light. She had opened multiple credit cards in Anna's name, taken out loans, and even used Anna's identity to secure a promotion at her job. The betrayal cut deeper than Anna had imagined, but she refused to let it define her. Anna's journey to rebuild her life was far from over, but she was determined to come out stronger. And as she stared at the stack of evidence on her desk, she realized one thing. Chloe's betrayal may have broken her trust, but it wouldn't break her spirit. Anna's life had been turned upside down. The betrayal from Chloe was a wound that cut deeper than she could have ever imagined. But even amidst the heartbreak, she knew she couldn't let her emotions cloud her judgment. She needed to act swiftly, not just to protect her finances but to reclaim her sense of control and justice. The following morning, Anna sat in Valerie's office, reviewing the pile of evidence they had collected. Surveillance footage, bank statements, fraudulent loan documents, all pointing to Chloe as the mastermind behind the scheme. The magnitude of Chloe's deception became even more apparent as they pieced together the timeline of events. Valerie leaned forward, her face serious. "Anna, we need to take this to the authorities now. The longer we wait, the more damage Chloe could do. She's already opened several accounts in your name, and if she defaults on those loans, it'll take years to recover." Anna nodded, her hands clenched into fists. "Let's do it. I won't let her get away with this." The two women headed to the police station, armed with their meticulously compiled evidence. Anna felt a mix of fear and determination as she explained the situation to Detective Harris, a seasoned officer who specialized in financial crimes. "This is one of the most detailed cases I've seen," Harris said, flipping through the evidence. "It's clear that your friend, Chloe, was it? Knew exactly what she was doing. She planned this out carefully. But don't worry, Ms. Daniels. We'll make sure justice is served." As Harris began the formal investigation, Anna was advised to contact her bank and credit card companies to report the fraud. The process was exhausting and emotionally draining. Each phone call felt like a reminder of how much Chloe had stolen. Not just money, but trust, stability, and peace of mind. But amidst the chaos, Anna found strength she didn't know she had. With Valerie's support, she tackled each challenge head-on, refusing to let Chloe's actions define her future. Meanwhile, Chloe was blissfully unaware that her carefully constructed facade was crumbling. She continued to live in the luxurious penthouse, flaunting her ill-gotten wealth on social media. Pictures of designer handbags, gourmet meals, and exotic vacations painted the picture of a perfect life. But beneath the surface, cracks were beginning to form. One evening, Chloe returned to the penthouse to find an envelope slipped under the door. Inside was a court summons and a notice that her accounts had been frozen. Panic set in as she realized the walls were closing in. "What's happening?" she muttered, pacing the lavish living room. This can't be real. But it was very real. The evidence Anna had provided to the authorities was airtight, and Chloe was now facing charges of identity theft, fraud, and embezzlement. Her once glamorous life was unraveling before her eyes. Desperate to salvage the situation, Chloe tried to reach out to Anna. She bombarded her with calls, texts, and emails, begging for forgiveness and pleading for a second chance. "Anna, please, you have to listen to me," one voicemail said. "I made a mistake, okay? But we've been friends for so long. You can't just throw that away. Let's talk about this. I'll fix everything, I promise." But Anna didn't respond. She had made her decision, and she wasn't about to let Chloe manipulate her emotions again. As the legal proceedings began, Anna was called to testify against Chloe in court. It was one of the hardest things she had ever done, but she knew it was necessary. Sitting in the witness stand, she recounted the betrayal in painful detail, her voice steady despite the emotions bubbling beneath the surface. Chloe, seated at the defendant's table, avoided Anna's gaze. Her once confident demeanor was replaced by a look of shame and regret. But whether her remorse was genuine or simply a strategy to gain sympathy was unclear. The prosecution presented the mountain of evidence against Chloe, leaving no doubt about her guilt. But when it was Chloe's turn to speak, she surprised everyone in the courtroom. "I admit it," Chloe said, her voice trembling. "I did it. I stole Anna's identity. I took her money, her name, everything. But I didn't do it out of malice. I was desperate. My business was failing, and I didn't know what else to do. Anna had everything I wanted: success, stability, a perfect life. I thought if I could just borrow some of that, maybe I could turn things around. I never meant to hurt her." Anna's heart ached as she listened. Despite everything Chloe had done, a part of her still wanted to believe that their friendship had been real, that Chloe's actions weren't entirely fueled by greed. But as the judge delivered the verdict, guilty on all counts, Anna felt a sense of closure. Chloe would face the consequences of her actions, and Anna could finally begin to rebuild her life. In the weeks that followed, Anna took steps to recover from the ordeal. She worked with financial advisors to repair her credit, attended therapy to process the emotional fallout, and leaned on her friends and family for support. Through it all, Anna learned an important lesson. Trust is a precious thing, and not everyone who enters your life deserves it. But she also learned that she was stronger than she ever realized. Chloe's betrayal may have shaken her, but it didn't break her. And as Anna stood in her newly redecorated apartment, free of surveillance cameras and filled with reminders of her resilience, she knew she was ready to move forward. The past would always be a part of her story, but it wouldn't define her future. Anna's testimony in court left a lasting impact, not just on the jury but also on herself. Recounting every detail of Chloe's betrayal in front of a packed courtroom was one of the most challenging experiences of her life. Yet it was also cathartic. It allowed her to reclaim her narrative, to turn her pain into a weapon of justice. As the prosecutor wrapped up their case, they laid out the staggering depth of Chloe's crimes. Over 6 months, Chloe had accumulated over $150,000 in debt under Anna's name. She had opened new credit lines, signed fraudulent contracts, and even rented a luxury car. The prosecution presented a timeline of her activities, revealing how meticulously Chloe had planned each step. It was evident that Chloe's actions weren't a spur-of-the-moment decision driven by desperation. They were calculated, deliberate, and merciless. The defense attorney, however, painted a different picture. They claimed Chloe was a woman under extreme financial pressure, driven to make poor decisions out of fear of losing everything. She didn't mean to harm Anna, they argued. She was simply overwhelmed by the failure of her business and saw no other way out. But Anna wasn't convinced. Chloe had been a part of her life for years. They had shared secrets, celebrated milestones, and been there for each other during hard times, or so Anna had thought. Yet, as Chloe's true nature unraveled, Anna realized how little she really knew about her so-called best friend. The trial continued for several days, with witnesses called to the stand and more evidence brought forward. Among the witnesses was Valerie, Anna's private investigator, who detailed the investigation that had exposed Chloe's crimes. Valerie's testimony was precise and unshakable, leaving no room for doubt about Chloe's guilt. As Anna sat in the courtroom, she couldn't help but notice Chloe's demeanor. Gone was the confident, glamorous woman who had paraded her newfound wealth on social media. In her place was someone visibly broken, her designer clothes now hanging loosely on her frame. Yet, even in her reduced state, Chloe refused to look Anna in the eye. When Chloe finally took the stand, her testimony was a mix of tearful confessions and self-justifications. "I never wanted things to go this far," she said, dabbing at her eyes with a tissue. "Anna was always so successful, so perfect. I thought if I could just borrow a little of her life, I could fix mine. I know I was wrong, but I didn't know how to stop." Her words stirred mixed reactions in the courtroom. Some saw a woman genuinely remorseful for her actions. Others, including Anna, couldn't ignore the calculated nature of Chloe's crimes. This wasn't a mistake. It was a choice, repeated over and over again. The closing arguments were as emotional as they were decisive. The prosecution urged the jury to see Chloe for what she was, a manipulator who preyed on the trust of her closest friend. "This isn't just about money," the prosecutor said. "It's about betrayal. It's about violating the sanctity of friendship for selfish gain." Anna trusted Chloe, and Chloe destroyed that trust in the worst way possible. The defense, on the other hand, pleaded for leniency. They painted Chloe as a flawed human being who had made poor decisions out of desperation. "We all make mistakes," the defense attorney said. "Chloe's actions were wrong, but she's willing to make amends. Don't let one chapter define her entire life." As the jury deliberated, Anna felt a wave of anxiety wash over her. She had done everything she could to bring Chloe to justice, but the outcome was now out of her hands. All she could do was wait. The jury returned with a verdict the following afternoon. The courtroom was silent as the foreperson stood to deliver the decision. "We, the jury, find the defendant, Chloe Carter, guilty on all counts." A mixture of relief and sadness washed over Anna. Justice had been served, but the victory felt bittersweet. Chloe had once been her closest friend, someone she trusted with her life. Now, she was a convicted criminal. The judge sentenced Chloe to 5 years in prison, with an additional 5 years of probation. She was also ordered to repay every penny she had stolen from Anna, though it was unclear how Chloe would ever manage to do so. As Chloe was led away in handcuffs, she finally looked at Anna. "I'm sorry," she mouthed, tears streaming down her face. For a brief moment, Anna saw a glimpse of the friend she had once known. But it wasn't enough to erase the damage that had been done. In the weeks following the trial, Anna began the process of rebuilding her life. She worked tirelessly to restore her credit, with the help of financial advisors and support from her loved ones. She also sought therapy to deal with the emotional fallout of Chloe's betrayal. One day, while sorting through old photographs, Anna stumbled upon a picture of her and Chloe from years ago. They were laughing, arms around each other, oblivious to the storm that lay ahead. Anna stared at the photo for a long time before finally placing it in a box labeled Memories. "You were my friend," she whispered, her voice heavy with emotion. "But I won't let you take any more from me." As Anna moved forward, she found strength in the lessons she had learned. Trust, she realized, was a gift, not a given. And while Chloe's betrayal had shaken her, it hadn't broken her. She was stronger, wiser, and ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Anna spent hours staring at the courtroom ceiling as Chloe's face and false remorse echoed in her mind. Despite Chloe's supposed tears and her whispered apologies, Anna couldn't shake the knowledge that the betrayal ran far deeper than just financial theft. It was a total violation of trust. It wasn't just about the money Chloe stole. It was about years of friendship, laughter, and shared dreams that were now tainted by deceit. The courtroom had emptied for the day, but Anna remained in her seat, struggling to process the whirlwind of emotions. Her lawyer approached her gently, setting a hand on her shoulder. "It's going to take time," the lawyer said. "But remember, you're not just fighting for justice here. You're fighting for yourself." As Anna returned home that evening, the house felt quieter than usual. The space, once filled with warmth and cherished memories, now felt like a reminder of all that had been upended. Letters from creditors, court summons, and the remains of Chloe's fake accounts cluttered her desk. Each paper was a glaring testament to the destruction Chloe had caused. Anna couldn't stop herself from replaying their last interaction before the trial. She had confronted Chloe, hoping for an explanation or a shred of remorse. Chloe's cold response had been chilling. "You don't understand, Anna. I had to do it. You had everything, your perfect life, your perfect career. You didn't even know how lucky you were." Those words haunted Anna now. Was that really how Chloe had seen her? Was their entire friendship just a game of envy and hidden resentments? A week later, the courtroom was filled again as the trial neared its conclusion. The prosecution had presented their case with precision. Anna had testified, recounting every detail of the betrayal. Witnesses had confirmed the timeline of events, and the mountain of evidence was impossible to ignore. The defense, however, worked hard to humanize Chloe, portraying her as a victim of her own circumstances. But no amount of sympathetic framing could erase the calculated nature of Chloe's crimes. She had exploited Anna's identity for months, opening credit cards, maxing out loans, and even forging Anna's signature to gain access to her savings account. The prosecution revealed that Chloe had been siphoning money from Anna long before her supposed financial troubles began. What stunned Anna the most was the evidence that Chloe had even bragged about her actions in private conversations with other acquaintances. Text messages recovered by investigators showed Chloe gloating about how easy it had been to manipulate Anna. One particular message stood out. "She trusts me so much, she'll never notice. It's almost too easy." Anna clenched her fists as those words were read aloud in court. Chloe didn't just steal from her. She mocked her kindness, weaponized it against her, and used it as a shield for her crimes. On the second-to-last day of the trial, Chloe took the stand. For the first time since the ordeal began, she addressed Anna directly. "I know I hurt you," she said, her voice trembling. "I know I broke your trust, but I swear it wasn't out of malice. I was drowning in debt, and I didn't know where else to turn. I thought maybe I could fix things before you noticed." Her tears seemed genuine, but Anna had learned to see past them. This wasn't the first time Chloe had played the victim. For years, she had crafted a persona of helplessness, drawing others in with her charm and then taking advantage of their goodwill. When the prosecutor asked Chloe about the text messages mocking Anna, her demeanor shifted. She stammered, tried to deny their context, and eventually broke down in tears. "I don't know what I was thinking," she sobbed. "I was desperate." But desperation couldn't explain the calculated steps Chloe had taken to cover her tracks. Nor could it erase the humiliation Anna felt, knowing that someone she considered family had used her so callously. That night, Anna sat in her living room, surrounded by friends and family who had come to support her through the trial. They assured her that justice would prevail, that Chloe would face the consequences of her actions. But Anna's heart was heavy. Even if Chloe was convicted, it wouldn't undo the damage she had caused. As the night stretched on, Anna found herself scrolling through old photos of her and Chloe. In one, they were at a summer barbecue, laughing as they posed with matching sunglasses. In another, they were at Anna's wedding, Chloe standing by her side as her maid of honor. Anna felt tears well up as she realized just how much she had lost. Not just money, but years of memories, trust, and a friendship she had once cherished. She thought about the times Chloe had comforted her during heartbreak, celebrated her successes, and shared in her dreams. How much of it had been real? The next morning, as Anna prepared for what would likely be the final day of the trial, she stared at herself in the mirror. She saw a woman who had been betrayed, broken, and pushed to the brink. But she also saw strength. "This ends today," she whispered to herself. "No matter what happens, I'm walking out of that courtroom with my head held high." Anna arrived at the courthouse determined to see the trial through to the end. She knew that whatever the verdict, she had done everything in her power to fight for herself. And she knew that, no matter how painful the journey had been, she would come out stronger on the other side. The courtroom was tense as the final arguments were made. The prosecutor delivered a powerful closing statement, urging the jury to see Chloe's actions for what they truly were: a betrayal of trust, a calculated scheme to exploit someone who had only ever shown her kindness. The defense, meanwhile, pleaded for mercy. They painted Chloe as a woman overwhelmed by circumstances, desperate to escape her financial woes. But Anna knew better. Chloe's actions weren't born out of desperation. They were born out of entitlement and greed. As the jury was dismissed to deliberate, Anna sat silently, her hands clenched in her lap. She didn't know what the future held, but she was ready to face it head-on. The courtroom fell silent as the jury filed back in. Each step echoed in Anna's chest, her heart pounding as she gripped the edge of the bench. Chloe sat across the room, her face a mask of nervous anticipation, though Anna wondered if it was fear for the verdict, or fear of finally being held accountable for her actions. The foreperson rose, clearing their throat before speaking. "In the matter of identity theft, fraud, and embezzlement, we, the jury, find the defendant, Chloe Reynolds." A pause hung heavy in the air, stretching out the moment to an unbearable eternity. "Guilty on all counts." Anna exhaled sharply, the tension in her body releasing in a rush of emotions. Relief, validation, and a bittersweet ache washed over her as the courtroom erupted into murmurs. Chloe's head dropped into her hands, her tears returning, but Anna couldn't find it in herself to feel sympathy. This wasn't a moment to mourn the loss of a friend. This was a moment of justice. The judge began to outline Chloe's sentence. "Ms. Reynolds, your actions were a gross violation of trust, not only against the victim but against the very foundations of friendship and loyalty. The evidence presented leaves no room for doubt about the deliberate and calculated nature of your crimes." Chloe was sentenced to 5 years in prison and ordered to repay every penny she had stolen from Anna. The judge's gavel slammed down, punctuating the moment with finality. It was over. As Chloe was escorted out of the courtroom in handcuffs, Anna remained seated. She wasn't sure what she was supposed to feel. There was no joy in seeing someone she once loved and trusted reduced to this. Yet, there was peace in knowing that the truth had come to light and that Chloe would finally face the consequences of her choices. Her lawyer approached, offering a quiet congratulations. "It's a hard-fought victory, Anna. You should be proud of yourself." But pride wasn't the word Anna would use. She felt drained, physically, emotionally, and mentally. The betrayal had taken so much from her, and though the trial was over, the journey to rebuild her life was only beginning. In the weeks that followed, Anna began the arduous process of repairing the damage Chloe had done. She worked with financial advisors to reclaim her accounts, contacted creditors to clear her name, and leaned on her support system to find her footing again. But the scars of Chloe's betrayal remained. Every time Anna opened her mailbox, she braced herself for more bad news. Every time she met someone new, she questioned their intentions. Trust, once so freely given, now felt like a luxury she couldn't afford. Despite it all, Anna refused to let Chloe's actions define her. She sought therapy to process the trauma, joined a support group for victims of fraud, and even started volunteering to help others who had faced similar betrayals. One day, as Anna sat in a park near her home, a small child ran past her, laughing as they chased a butterfly. Anna smiled, the sound of innocent joy stirring something within her. For the first time in months, she felt a glimmer of hope. She realized that while Chloe had stolen so much, she hadn't taken everything. Anna still had her strength, her resilience, and her capacity for love and kindness. Those were things no one could take from her. Months later, Anna received a letter from Chloe. It was handwritten, the paper stained with tear marks. "Anna," it began, "I know I'm the last person you want to hear from, but I need you to know that I'm sorry. Truly, deeply sorry. Being in here has forced me to confront who I've become, and I hate what I see. I don't expect your forgiveness, but I hope you can find peace, even if I don't deserve it. I hope one day you'll remember the good times we shared, not just the bad. I hope one day you'll heal." Anna read the letter twice before folding it carefully and placing it in a drawer. She wasn't ready to respond, not yet, maybe not ever. But she knew one thing for certain: her healing was no longer tied to Chloe. It was hers alone. As Anna looked out at the world beyond her window, she felt a sense of closure. Life wouldn't be the same, but it would go on. And for the first time in a long time, Anna was ready to face it. The end.